All right, hey everyone, I'm David Room. Tonight we're continuing work on the retro space combat game, working on something that I always say for a lot of these things is long overdue. This is an interesting one. Something that's pretty common in space combat games is, like you have a targeting system, you have the ability to target enemy ships or allied ships and pursue them or use that for aiming or looking at their status or whatever. Something that a lot of games have that I've never actually built in my game yet is the ability to target subcomponents of a ship. And one reason for this is that in my game, you're probably not likely to be engaging in combat by targeting subcomponents of a ship. Uh, the way combat in my world works is you have shields, and when the shields are gone, you're pretty much toast. Um, but I'm working on a little bit of an interesting kind of side project within this project, and I realized that I really needed subcomponent targeting for that to work and make sense because I need to be able to understand and work with the positions of certain components. Actually, not things like turrets or weapons or shields, but docking rings. So I'm going to get some music going and then we'll get into this and I'll show you what I'm working on. So today we're going to try a new White Bat playlist. This is called Vacancy, royalty-free moody retro synth playlist. I'm in the middle of a mood for something not too intense tonight, I think. We'll see how moody this is. Okay. So just check Twitter here before we get started. Okay, so the idea is and I've built a special scenario for this specifically. I'm kind of starting to work on more intense tuning and testing of the combat and behaviors in the game. And one of the things that I think would be interesting to do sort of as a side project is do some work with trying to use reinforcement learning to train models for spacecraft maneuvering and combat. I always like to look for potential side projects that have some relation to my day job and career of working in machine learning and AI and computer vision and things. And one thing that I haven't done in my time working in that field is reinforcement learning. And I've always thought, what would be a good project for doing some reinforcement learning, and I think spacecraft maneuvering might fit the bill. So what I've been working on is building a lot of functionality to kind of automate or make different parts of my game headless, so that I can run quick tests at faster than real time, save outputs, add callbacks eventually here, so we can potentially control it with an external system, things like that. And I managed to, in the process of doing this, I managed to find some really nice patterns for callbacks for replay type functionality and logging and catching certain events that happen in the game. I'm not sure if we'll get into that stuff too much today, but what I've done here is I thought a good place to start might be trying to get spacecraft to dock with each other. So you have a spacecraft that's got one docking ring, and you've got a space station or something that has a docking ring, and can we get those two sort of aligned and within a certain distance of each other, right? This seems like a pretty tractable problem for both reinforcement learning and the and the behavior trees and stuff. So what I've done is I made a little entry point here that just sets up a simple scenario, and this is kind of based on another scenario that I have, so it might look familiar, but we just have a ship and we have a space station. So if we launch this here, you can see what the setup looks like right now. And actually I was tweaking this by hand, so I'm gotta fix a couple things. Disable, use mouse. Now we gotta bump this screen resolution back up here because I'm on my internal monitor or external monitor. So we have our space station, we have our ship, and you know, the problem here is basically how do we get the docking ring that's here on this ship to line up with one of these docking rings on the space station. So what does the maneuvering to do that look like? Now we've got some different behaviors available, and I made a new behavior which I didn't have before, surprisingly, called orient, which just reorients the ship to match the orientation of the target. So, you know, for starters, we could do something like that, and then we could, you know, we could sort of strafe in to get things lined up. But the problem here is that, you know, right now we're matching the orientation, and we can track the position of this, you know, the space station as a singular big entity. But in order to do this kind of maneuvering, we need to do something similar for the individual components, specifically the docking rings. So I'm going to build in some functionality to be able to do that kind of targeting. Let's see here. I've got to. Oh yeah. So we can target previous and target next with the bracket keys, and I want to do something where if we do a modifier, we can target subcomponents. And we do have a notion right now of components or subcomponents of a ship, but that is mainly used for this specs view. And oh, that's funny. We might have broken that. That's okay. And it's not really what we need for this kind of thing. So we're kind of building a parallel system alongside it. Maybe we can replace it. I am not super impressed with this music so far. It's not really what I was picturing. So I'm gonna choose something else. We're gonna switch back to good old let's see here. Maybe we'll do Neon Paradise. That's an older synthwave. Let me just see if I actually, maybe we want to do something more driving. Actually, yeah, I'm starting to feel something more driving. Let's do let's do plasma. I think that's got some good stuff in it. Yeah, okay. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do here is we want to get some entries into this list of components for the station, and these are basically going to just be names of subparts of the model that should correspond to a component, along with a name. So let's try to do that first. And I think what we have to do here, let me split. Right. There's a few places where this can kind of go wrong. And hopefully we don't run into too many issues with this. I kind of sketched out some of the framework. I'm hoping I can mainly be working on UI stuff tonight. But yeah, first we got to do some data structure stuff here. So let's see here. State. So okay. So yeah, we need to implement this component info thing here. So this should be really easy to check if it works. Class name, let's see here, should be class component info. And name, a model name. And let's just see if we can find the right name right away. So our docking rings are going to be by ring segment. Let's see how we're naming them. Key is like part number, docking ring, half index. Let's see here. Trying to remember what half index was. Let's see, half index in range 2, so that's 3. Okay, so these are per segment. And then I think we probably add additional things. Maybe the quickest thing to do here will just be to instantiate this guy and look at the part names. So let's do that. I think actually we can just do this. See if we can functions. Let's see here. Yeah, we want this guy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's going to be like ring A seg X dock ring 0. So yeah, because each of these segments has 2 docking rings. So let's just ring a seg 0 doc ring 0. And actually, let's just put a couple of these in here. Now what I'm kind of suspecting, and I'm gonna have to figure out here, is like there's so many transformations of how the names of these things change going into the actual game. So we'll have to see what happens when they get in there. But let's see here. So seg, we'll just do a different segment, and I'm thinking, let's see here. I think there's 12 segments, I think. Is that right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it looks like there's 12 segments. So we'll do a 0, 0. We'll do B 6, 1. Let me just double check these names again. Yeah, it's ring. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so first of all, I guess we want to see if this instantiates properly, and I've got some logic here for when we construct entities that should show that info, and yeah, so here these should come in here, and we should be able to print this. So we're going to be looping over these and then building a corresponding list that points to the models. And actually, just while I'm thinking of it, one thing, actually no, don't have to worry about that right now. And we will just make a little pause here so we can see if anything was printed. We'll say there's only 2 entities in this scenario, as far as I know. So we'll just add a little logging here, and then we'll print. So we should see a component info being, we should see 2 of these getting constructed. So barrel 1 found 0, that's right. Yep, for the station we found these 2. Okay, so they're getting constructed correctly, that's good. Okay, so now it's just there's going to be a simple thing here, and we'll just add some debug logic, because I think it's the name of that entity that we're interested in is station B, right? So we can just add a little filter here. So if entity.name equals station B, then we'll pause. So we'll come right here. Now, here's what we want to do here. We want to entity.basenp, because we've already should have all of the components except some of the glow and stuff wired up at this point. So we should be able to ls, and this is going to be really long, but we should be able to see what the names of those node paths are. Right? Okay, and it looks like they have the names that we would expect, right? So ring B, seg1, doc ring 1. So I think we should be able to just find those things and construct the components as we would expect to be able to here. So I always forget the find it's like */ and the name. So we've got to do np equals entity.basenp.find */ cinfo dot model name, and then if np is not none, or actually we'll do np is none, we'll just logger.info component do this little keep reusing this. So other than, like, if we did find something, then we can instantiate the game component, which is going to have index. Actually, I think that should be fine. Info. Index info equals the C info. Now here's this for now. This is for like components that have like a weapon or a shield or something else that's managed in the game, and this isn't going to be the case now, so we're not going to deal with that. And I'm just going to select. And the base NP of that is going to be the, well, let's see. Base NP might not be the right word, right term for this. This might just be a node path, but that is easy to change, right? Actually, this is almost certainly going to be a model NP. Okay, now this actually should be a dictionary. Yeah. And this is an index like that. Okay, so here we've hooked this up. So now let's see if instead of doing this ls, we'll just show the components that we've added. So we'll say wow. That is not an error that I expected to get at all. What happened? Oh, shucks. Let's see here. Uh-oh. Might have hit a bunch of stuff in the refactor that I didn't intend to. Let me... let's see here. Let's see here. This might be a... No? Okay, what happened? That was just really interesting. Let's just comment this stuff out for a second. Let's see what happened here. Oh, okay. So some instances of NP got changed to model NP. Okay. Yeah, that might be a bit of a bugbear here, but I think we can fix those as we run into them. Okay. Okay, now something is going on here. Oh yeah, classic. You know, I've been programming in Python for like 15 years now, I think. 15 years? Not quite 15 years. 12 years. And I cannot, for the life of me sometimes, remember to do things like iterate and use dot items and stuff like that properly. Okay, found two. Added 0. Okay, so, and this is going to be another issue. Let's just actually just turn this guy off. Let's see what mistake. Let's just comment this out and fix some of these. Oh, shucks. there's going to be a few of these that need to be fixed. Actually, this might be a good way to see then. See text .p. Hit some UI stuff here accidentally. Okay. It runs. That's strange. We're in a strange state here with the camera not following. That's funny. Let's see here. Let's see. What else did we hit here that we shouldn't have hit? Let me just search for something here. Let's see here. Control Alt Shift down arrow. Does that work? Here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to just switch back to I've got to look at the Git history here and fix some of this stuff, and there's some information in there I don't want to share on screen. This will be the quickest way to fix this stuff though. So okay, yeah, I've got it off screen here now. Oops. Restore. This is a kind of a rare case where the refactor really screwed stuff up. Let's see here. can do almost all of this stuff. Jeez. Yeah. Wow. Bunch of stuff got screwed up here. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's actually good. Somehow state load didn't get screwed up. Okay, I think that's it actually. I see Ayush E8U9L in the chat says hi. Hello, how are you doing? Okay. All right, that's more like it. All right, so we do not have the targeting, subcomponent targeting functionality yet. So now it's time to add that to the targeting system. But let's just quick restore this. So we're adding this, and now we should see that we've added 2 components. Yep. Okay. Okay, so Ayush E8U9 says, what kind of game are you trying to make? So I'm making a space combat sim game. So looks like this, and right now we're working on adding some functionality that will help us to target subcomponents of spaceships and stations and things. And we're doing this work towards working on behaviors and, I guess, AI or controllers for ships to do things like docking or targeting components, and kind of like a finer grained control over things. So, okay, so now now that we've got the components loaded in, right, and we can comment this out, now we can work on component targeting. So we need to add some stuff to our targeting HUD. And let's see here. I think where is that? Where is our target actually stored? Okay, it's stored in HUD. So let's see here. Target index. What is target index? Okay, yeah, this is something that can change. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, that we need to fix at some point. Okay, now, so we're gonna have a target component UID. going to be an optional int. Okay, and just to make this easier, oh crap, is my, let's see here, okay, good, my screen is showing. Okay, to make this a little easier, let's cycle the target so that these things are set and ready when the game starts. So we'll target, so we can just do this in here. We auto zoom the camera, recycle the target once, and that should target the station, and we'll do dot. So we're ready to do the subcomponent targeting here. This is just player not ready. Okay, so we're already targeting the station. Now basically I just want to hit the strafe modifier and be cycling through those subcomponents. So let's add a cycle component, cycle target component. Target component. And we can just assume that we have a target here, right? So, and forward. I think this is actually a really good pattern because this is an index into the current list, right? I'm just wondering if we could wrap around to -1 to sort of disable the target. Let's see here. Let's think about this. This might be simpler now. And actually, we'll start this off at -1. Okay, so let's target components. Actually, yeah. Okay, so true forward. One. Yeah, and if less than -1. -1, so we wrap around. Yeah, so now, then basically we say if that index is -1, then our target comp UID is none. Otherwise, our target comp UID equals the target list. Wow, it's very confused about what comps list is. Does not have a UID. Target components. Oh, set values. Yep. Okay, and then there's our set. There's our set that we want. So we want to set target or set target component. Oh, actually, yeah. Add UI. This is just gonna be because this will handle that logic. Okay, so now let's see what's in set target here. Yeah, so this is like some of the model stuff. Rescaling, bracket scaling. See, I don't know if we need to do any of this for the components, at least for now. We basically just need to set the does this even target UI? Yeah, okay, so there is some. Let's see, I don't know if we even set the brackets. I don't think we even set the brackets here. So this might just be as simple as target component UI. Oh yeah, Free Sea Elf is here. He says it's always a good night for a chill stream. Absolutely. doing some fun stuff today. Let's see here. And what do I? Okay, now I think let's just add the control to do this. Okay, nice. Abdullah Arif is here. He says, I subscribed. Thanks for subscribing. Are you interested in programming or game development or Python? If so, you've found a good channel to, to subscribe to. Let's see here. Controls. Let's see here. Change target. Okay, nice. Abdullah Harif says, yes, I know a little bit of C++. Cool. Yeah, I do some C++ in my day job. I work on a big, kind of complex, sort of high-performance computer vision system that's implemented in C++. So I do machine learning stuff in Python, and then I have to integrate it into a big C++ code base, so it keeps me on my toes. At some point, I might like to actually rewrite some parts of this game in C++ because the engine that I'm using, Panda 3D, is kind of a Python wrapper around a C++ engine. And, you know, the complexity of this just gets, it just grows and grows and grows, and you know, when you know, like, I love Python, but when you know how Python works, sometimes you start to feel bad for what the computer has to do, and there's so much logic, and you know, there's all these abstractions that in a compiled language wouldn't have any cost. And here in Python, it's like, yeah, every time I'm interacting with a variable or something, I'm doing these horrible dictionary lookups and stuff, and it's a little frustrating sometimes to have that knowledge of what's going on. But yeah, it'd be fun to make this more efficient. This should be. Ooh, not that target. Oh. Target is optional empty. Okay. All right. So that should be the keys. And just for now, let's send a message so that we know that the targeting is working. So game.wi. sound. Oh, nice. So Abdullah Harif is practicing problems in code forces. That's cool. I never was very good at programming problems, and it would be really fun to get better at that. And I have fantasies sometimes of like getting better at that and streaming it, or like working on that on stream. I think that would be fun, but I'm pretty busy with my day job, and at the end of the day, if I'm gonna do more programming, I feel like doing something fun. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna get around to that, if I don't have to, like if I'm trying to like interview for a job or something, but we'll see. So this is just a super quick and dirty message. We should just see it cycle between none and the names of those docking rings as we go back and forth. Abdullah Harif says, do you think logic in game development is easier than code forces? Yes. So code forces is like elite is it elite code kind of thing? I'm not actually familiar with it. I was practicing. Oh, okay. These are like this is more interesting. This is more like not programming problems, more like competitive programming. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this stuff that I'm doing is pretty simple. I think it's more like in game development, at least what I'm doing is more just like kind of enjoying thinking about how to create data structures and simple things, UI, state transitions, state machines. There's some complicated stuff when it comes to like behavior trees, physics, stuff like that, but for a lot of the stuff like this, it's just like pretty simple simple UI stuff, thinking about how to make simple representations of state and in a way that makes sense. I find that kind of enjoyable and relaxing. I'm guessing that code forces is quite a bit more complex. Okay, let's see if this works now. So let's see if I go like this. Whoop. Got into some kind of crazy loop there. I think. Let's see here. Oh, I've got a break. Nice. So yeah, let's see. The idea is if okay, yeah. As soon as I do this, I can actually break. Okay, actually, yeah, I don't even need a loop here because we know we're just gonna wrap around. So there's no like here, if there's like other states things can have, so we needed that loop. We don't actually need that loop here. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that seems to be working. I just where's my handle controls? Oh, okay, yeah, and that was right, that I'm setting the wrong thing when this guy needs to be, UID needs to be this dot UID. Okay. Component 0, 1, none, 0, 1, none, 0, none, 1. Yeah, okay, so that seems to be working. Okay, cool. So now we just need to get the targeting HUD and text to actually show this. And what I'm picturing here is, I want to put a little bit of something in text, like maybe in brackets, maybe on a separate line here, like the name of that subcomponent. If I have one, we could start with that, and then I want to do like a little bracket on the thing, and then maybe a trace or line segment from the sort of base of that thing to that thing. And we're not going to worry about like trying to size brackets to anything right now, because mainly the reason that I want this is just to be able to start like having behavior trees and stuff match the orientation of and position of subcomponents for docking. So let's get into the targeting HUD here. Let's see here. I think text. A lot of this is still in HUD. Text. Okay, here it is actually. So yeah, the name, the type. This is like whether we have automatic like next targeting turned on. Auto text. So this is kind of like the first line. Actually, let's just put this all in the first line so we can tell that this is going to be the first line. So I think we'll do a comp text here. Text. Okay, yep. Here we're going to want to add target comp UID as an optional int. Actually, we can do that as, we don't have to do the UID here, we can actually do the component as an optional state dot. If target comp is none else, dot name, that target comp dot info name. There we go. Nice. FLVGZ official says, how's it going? It's going well. We're building component targeting for my space combat game, and haven't run into any super big or crazy issues so far, so we'll see. And actually, I want to just be clear about what's in here. So we'll do this. Name. Okay. Now we should see. Whoops. Okay. Now we've got to trace this through, right? So UI dot one UI dot target comp UID is UI. Oh geez, this is going to be a little bit of a trick here. Because we want to check. This is actually good that we're pulling this out here. So if HUD-UI.target is not none, and let's see here, target comp is none. So if we don't have it, if we have a target and our, you know what? Yeah, HUD-UI dot target comp. Yeah, see, this doesn't have to be UID. This can just be comp, right? Target comp equals HUD-UI dot target comp. That's kind of what we were overlooking here, right? Because we're still using that index. We're still using that index to cycle through. Target comp. This should actually clean things up. So set target component. Yeah, so comp is none. UID equals this. This is just comp, and this is an optional component. State.component, because we never read out UID for anything. Comp equals comp, and yeah, because this is an entity, it's not a UID. This can be an actual component state. And did we ever target comp UID? Okay. Let's see if this works. Component 0, component 1. Okay, and then here we this is just if UI dot target comp is not else this. Drop this in here. Yeah, okay, so we've got the name of our component showing up here. Right? Okay, so that all seems to be working. Now we just got to add a bracket and stuff so we can see it. So this all, the targeting UI stuff I separated out before, so this should be fairly straightforward. Fairly straightforward update here. Okay, so here, okay, we've got different brackets, arrows, blips, and brackets, and then UI elements for the single current target. So we want a new couple of elements here for the component that we have currently. So we're going to have a target, yeah, like fires and intercepts. It's going to be something like that. So target component bracket np, and we have the target component bracket text np. Okay. Now later we could add a bunch of brackets for the different components, but I don't really see that being something that we do. So for now we can just do this. Now the nice thing about like doing these objects like this, I talk about this, like making record types, is like now that we've added those things, the program's not going to run properly until those are initialized. So we got to think about how we're going to initialize them. So we need target component bracket np and target component bracket text np. Okay. And these are just going to kind of follow these other things. There's all of these commonly used settings here that I've got to make a separate function, but we won't worry about that for now. So target component bracket is going to be, let's see here, I think we also want to have this be a four-sided thing, and it's going to be just small, the same as the intercept for now. And then the bracket text is going to be the same thing as this, where I'm going to say target component bracket text. Okay, and let's add actually, while we're at it, let's add a trace. Target, and we'll just call this a segment. Cyber Programmer is here. I'm not sure how to read that character, but I'm glad you're here. Okay. Oh, nice. So, Cyber Programmer says, I'm learning Python. What can I do next? Yeah, I mean, I think if you're trying to learn programming, it's important that you come up with a project that's interesting to you. And I would say, you know, choose something related to a hobby or interest or whatever that you have, and think about a cool program or game or utility or an app or something to help you in your life that you could build that's related to that that interest. That's what I do. I build games and utilities and things related to my other hobbies, and yeah. Good. So this is going to be a link. Actually, oh yeah, this is not. This is going to be a link. Actually. Okay. So we've got our trace. Now, let's see here. We're not, it doesn't look like we're really parenting things here. And I think that's because things get reparented to whatever they are. But, yeah, we'll deal with that when we get there. Okay, so now, okay, we've got this. Build. Let's see what calls this. Build target UI. And then I've got to see if there's target UI, elements 3D. This is all this stuff. So self.targetUI dot okay, so all that stuff now is in the right place in the scene graph. Now we just need to modify our targeting update function to correctly position those brackets, I think. So Yep. Okay. So and this should have the target comp. So if, oops. So if comp is, actually, we'll do the none case first. That's fine. We'll deal with showing and hiding somewhere else. I kind of want to get away from doing the showing and hiding in here anyway, right? So if it's not none, then we are going to we'll just do kind of a similar thing here. So so here it's going to be target comp dot model np dot get pause, but in the, we want to get this positioned in the global space. So base np dot parent. I think this parent's a function, right? Parent's not, okay. And what is this crap? Xspec. Target scale. Okay. Dot target scale. So that. Let's see. Where are we setting target scale? Oh, that's that. We don't need that here. Target UI dot, let's see here. Yeah, what is the default scale? Where am I setting? Okay. Where am I setting the other brackets? Bracket. In each bracket, distance. Yeah, okay. So we've got to do this thing. Bracket scale fac, I think. Yeah. So actually, let's look at something else. What am I? This is more like the intercept. How do I set that? P.set scale. Okay, I just have this at a. Okay, this is actually simpler. I don't need to be jumping through these hoops right now. so I think I just have to set. Yeah, I just have to set that to the position. Nice. So yeah, Ankit Jha, see you says I see a lot of progress in game from thumbnail. Yeah, I've been working on this game for quite a while, and you know, it's kind of fun having a project, even if you just get to work on a little bit at a time over a span of years. You can make a lot of progress on something, and I think that's fun. So let's see here. Target. S pause. Yeah, and this is all in the space of this, so this is going to be. Shucks, I didn't mean to. Yeah, this is just this. Right. Yeah, and then we can just bracket p dot set pause, and then let's see here, the target bracket text. Set billboard causes clipping issues. Interesting. Maybe we do have to mess around with some of this for a billboard for the text, but let's just see. It could be that oh wait, am I looking at the actual target bracket P? All of this stuff might be for the okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just set this right, and let's go ahead and target UI dot target component bracket dot show, and we'll see if this works. And let me just see where we hide the fires. Target where they intersect. Hide. Okay, if the target is none, we hide this. Target UI dot component bracket np dot hide and Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay. Now I think the other one is going to be on the other... Yeah, it's on the other ring on the other side of the station, right? So that seems to be working. And then if I select none, then it goes away. It doesn't go away when it's none. Okay, that makes sense. Comp is none. We gotta hide it here. Bracket np hide. Here, this will actually be easier to see if I look out into the dark sky. Yep. Okay, so that's basically working. Now, I am just going to set aside the whole like text bracket scaling thing because yeah, and there's this weird clipping thing that happens with billboards. Whereas like as soon as the center is out of the view, they stop showing. This is really noticeable with text, which is why I'm doing this manual billboard thing with the text. It's not such a big deal for that stuff, but I want to get that link working, and then I want to work a little bit on getting some of the behavior stuff to be aware of those components. So let's try to do that. Okay, so the link should be pretty straightforward. We're hiding the link here. And the text we're not really doing anything with right now. Get text, so I'll just comment that out. Get UI.target.link.base.p.hide. But the link should be pretty straightforward. So I'm just gonna review how we update links. Yeah, it's just gonna be link.update link. Link.bdata. Target UI.data, and then we're going to draw a link from the center of the target target.basemp to the component target comp model np.get pause, but again, relative to the global coordinate system. Let's see here. So just make note of this global component. Okay. So actually that should be that, and then let's see here. I think we want this stuff here too, but let me just see here. Yeah. Just wondering. Where we set those colors. A lot of this stuff I think just stays wireframe color. Update brackets. I think target. Let's see here. The target bracket gets updated with find bracket color here. Okay, yeah. So that's what we need. And we should do something similar here for the light and dark colors, right? So just for now, because I don't want to waste a bunch of time on this, we'll just do a single color for that link. Link and color equals find bracket color for player target. Wait a second. Player target entity. Oh, this is kind of a hacky function for yeah, that's kind of a hack. Confusing. So we want to, let's see, link dot date link on target and yes. Oh no. Okay, let's just forget about setting that bracket color for now. That's fine. Because all this other stuff is wireframe color anyway. It doesn't change. Alright. But we do want that link to update, and date. So, yep, so now I can follow that link over to where that thing is. Okay. So, let's actually add in another component for the B ring. Oops. B00. Because I think that's going to be the one that's really close to where we start here. Decently close. Yeah. So actually, here's a simple thing we could do. We're just using the position here, right? So if we wanted to here, we could do this. We could say, I have no idea what this, I have no idea, I have no recollection of what this XVec thing is. We can do this. So we can do this if target UI dot, or if target comp is none, right? We'll do this. Otherwise, we'll get it from the distance camera. Yeah. Camera.get net transform. np.get net transform must go up the whole chain. Yeah, absolute global transformation. So let's just a camera plane. We should be able to do target comp model NP and model NP get pause relative to this. Is there like a, let me just see here. Okay, so actually we can get net transform get pause. As well. We'll just test if this works first. So So what this should do is this should set that text and all of our stuff to that. It didn't work. Completely lost it, actually. That's weird. What happened? We might have actually just broke that bracket text. Oh, there it is. It's kind of awkward for the station anyway. Because I have this logic that puts it off to the side of a bracket. Let's see here. Oh, I know what's going on. It's putting it there, but the offset is probably still really huge. So it is putting it somewhere. Yeah, it's putting it up here. There's some UI questions about this, so I am not going to pursue this further right now. I think we've got what we want, which is that we can kind of verify that our target is the thing that we want. And let's see here. So we'll just fix that. Now, yeah, let's actually set up this docking thing to target this stuff properly. So HUD.set target UI player and station, and HUD.set target component station dot components 0. So we should start now with that guy targeted. Yep. Okay. So now let's test adding the capability to a behavior tree to deal with that component. So okay, I'm gonna work first on the align or orient behavior tree. So the orient behavior tree right now, when I tell it to reorient, it reorients to the station. So you can see it's aligned like that. Now, what I want is to be able to align to this thing. And if that happens, it should sort of arrive at a different alignment than we have right now. Okay, so what does this look like? Actually, let's close all this stuff. Okay, so nodes, trees, orient, target, it's going to be a UID, comp UID is going to be a UID, or just an int, we'll call it. And we're going to add a couple other Blackboard things. Blackboard target comp equals target comp. This whole Blackboard business is kind of awkward, and I'm just kind of doing it because that's the way you're supposed to do this sort of thing. But the more I work with these behavior trees, I don't understand why you don't just sort of write code that does what you want instead of like building this tree. I've got to like talk to AI more about this or something, because I feel like there's just something I'm not getting about this. Like there's some kind of optimization that I'm missing somewhere. Now the reason that we're not passing before we kind of were rewriting things so we were actually passing components and entities around. The reason we don't do that here is because the idea is that the state of all of these behavior trees should be serializable. So we have to sort of specify things by reference into the Blackboard and stuff. So actually this can be optional. If target comp if target comp is oh yeah, this is just an int, because this is a string. It's not optional. Yeah, all of this is just a mess. Let's see if I can do this without tripping myself up. So target comp equals get target comp. Self dot target comp target Blackboard. Okay, so if target comp is none, then we just use the sort of default rotation. Otherwise, we are going to get the orientation of that model, and let's see if we can do that. So if we say comp dot model np, let's see, and just comp here is going to be an optional state dot component. State. How is state not imported here? component. And yeah, we'll try this get net transform dot okay. Now we just gotta write this guy. We're almost done here. So oh, yeah. Get, this shouldn't be called target comp, it should just be just get comp. By name, entity, Blackboard. Okay, so, and then this will return a component. So this is largely going to be the same thing. So UID equals blackboard.getName. And really there's no reason that this can't be optional here too. I like this being optional here. Optional string, so like then we know if, let's see, comp is none if target comp is none, then we'll go through this, otherwise we don't. And okay. We'll just double check that it's actually an integer. But then instead of pulling it out of entities, we will pull it out of the components. Like that. Okay. Now, comp UID goes in here, and then when we call this, is none. And actually, one other thing that I'm just gonna do before I forget, HUD UI dot target, wherever this gets set to none, we also gotta set the HUD UI dot target comp to none. Okay, so target comp. Let's just kind of fly over here so we're nearby. Oh, that's too bad. Nothing. I wonder what happened there. Okay. Target comp. Let's see here. Yeah, it thinks that it's there's something fishy about that total transform thing. Let's take a look at this, because this, I feel like, let's just check something here. Like if we just pass something crazy in here, well, actually no. I think there's enough fallbacks there. Net transform. I think this is just not working. But let's just add some good old prints here. None. I suspect Why is this just 0? Doug Wise is here. He says, bad luck on my side, missing last stream and late to this one. What's the focus tonight? So we're working on a system to be able to target components of ships or space stations or whatever. So what this looks like right now is I have this, I have a couple of components defined. So I'm trying to work towards being able to test and do some behaviors like docking. So like I've got a couple of docking rings set up as components of this spacecraft that we can cycle, or the space station that we can cycle through. So you can see the UI needs some work here, but we're kind of cycling through these different components. And what I'm working on right now, I kind of got all that built, and what I'm working on right now is getting that information into the blackboards of the behavior trees so we can interact with those components through the behaviors. And I'm trying to get, I made a new behavior called orient that that aligns a ship with another thing, unfortunately it's not working with the components right now. So trying to figure out and do a little bit of debugging to figure out what's going on here, but I think we're close. So I think for some reason this just isn't getting set, so we're gonna fail out here. I should be able to just hit F2 and it fails out. Yeah, so we're not getting a component. Target comp. If target comp is not done, let's see here. Let's fail out here. Okay, so we're not failing out there. We're getting our instruction to search for a component that's defined in the blackboard. So this blackboard int dot components get select that target comp target. Okay, let's see. We should not be hitting that case. Okay, so we're finding the UID, so what gives? Components that get UID. Okay, so UID. Component UID 0. And that's right. right? So why now are we dot keys? That is really strange. So do we not have the right entity here? Oh yeah. Okay. That's us. Oh, self.target. Yeah, that's strange. Target comp. What happened here? Something happened here. And target name. Target name is target. This is very odd. Trees. How are we ending up with our self? I feel like this just might be a very obvious bug once I figure it out. Yeah, let's look at the blackboard here. No, I think the station, let's see here. Yeah, the station is not 0. And there's also no target comp. This is strange. Oh, nice. DonishX3 is here. He says hello. How's it going? DonishX3 asks if I'm using Zed. Nope, I'm using PyCharm. I use Zed at work, actually. Yeah, see, this is right. Donish wonders, can I code really fast? It depends. Like if I'm doing something that I'm very sure of, yeah. When it's something that I'm trying to figure out, like what I'm working on right now, it's not easy for me to go super fast because you have to stop and think about what you're doing. But can I try? I'm not gonna try right now. I'm trying to debug something, and it just is more like looking and thinking, not actually writing code really fast. Okay, so basically the upshot of what we're doing here is like the right stuff is conceivably coming in here when we call this. So the question is, what is going, okay. Let's see here, orient. Okay. So now why is our blackboard getting screwed up? Builder. Oh, nice. So Donish has been learning to code, and he's got strings and if. I'm assuming you mean like if else. Nice. Let's see here. This is a really this is kind of a goofy issue here. It's stumping me a little bit. I'm just wondering if there's something. Is there something obvious that I'm missing here, or if there's a bug where some things are getting overwritten. Ah, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. There we go. I was overwriting the keys in the dictionary. Okay, so let's see here. If we do, okay, now we drop out down there, and let's see here. Can get rid of these print statements later once we've done things, but F2. Yep. So there we orient, and we should, yeah, see. We're aligned. We're aligned like tangent to that ring, I think it looks like. Let me fly over there and make sure that this isn't a fluke. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, now let's okay, we still got more music. Okay. Let's fly over to a different docking ring, and yeah, I gotta think about a UI for these components, because it's kind of sometimes hard to see where they are. I could add an arrow, or make the arrow point at the component. I think that's probably what I want, but I think there's some gotchas with that. Here, I gotta come around the other side so I can see. Okay, oh, there it is. All right. All right. Donish, are you asking if I'm a senior or like a junior developer in my day job? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm a senior developer. Sometimes those titles aren't super important though. Like I've had a number of different titles, like depending on where I worked, and different places have different rules about how roles are named, so it doesn't really matter too much sometimes. Let's see here. How does that look? I mean, that looks pretty well lined up to me. For debugging purposes, I could probably slap some debug nodes on there. It's kind of like a cool coincidence that this orient kind of seems to line things up the way we want things lined up. I think that's because kind of relative to the ship, my docking ring is oriented that way, but let's just double check once more. If I throw myself off a little bit, it'll bring me back to there. Yeah. Cool. Well, that, I dare say that we have accomplished what we set out to accomplish here in doing doing here, we'll kind of fly over to the last docking ring and try it once more. But I think we've accomplished what we set out to accomplish in terms of having these components that we can target and making sure that we can access those positions and things from the behavior trees. That looks so cool. And now I can actually sort of strafe in. Whoop, bonk. Bonk. I should actually, what would be cool is I could add some controls to power off shields so that I don't get the shield collision and nudge there. But now the other thing is I've got a move behavior where I can move to a location, and you know, if I had a move behavior that I could get within a certain distance from something, I could kind of automate like in the context of a scenario where you know where things are, right, and it doesn't have to plan on the fly. You could automate motions of shuttles, you know, like from one ship to a station or something, or you could automate ships kind of coming into a station and docking. So I think it's exciting that we've gotten this far. Man, I'm really tempted. Actually, there's a few people watching, so we could try to get move to go. Why don't we do that? As long as we've got some people watching, let's try to get the move behavior to be able to go to components 2, and then we can set up a sort of a default distance, and then we can at least manually trigger like moving to a docking ring, and then orienting. That would be cool. Let's do that. So Donish wonders if I can spend 2 days nonstop and try finishing it. Are you like finishing the game? There's months of work here to do it manually, like I'm doing it. This particular task we're very close to done with though, or at least having a good start to it. 2 months. That's probably a stretch too. I actually had a couple weeks last summer where I was basically able to work on my project full time because we were on vacation. So I probably got like 8 hours a day in, and I made some really tremendous progress on the Blender rendering, high detail rendering stuff. And that was a really good time. It was actually about a year ago. Just about exactly a year ago, but okay. So let's look at the move. So actually, before we do this, let's just clean a couple things up. So the orient one, we're not using UID here. We're just using that. Okay, so we're gonna copy this so we don't screw that up. Def move. Comp. Int And this, yeah, select, click, simple evade, face mode. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we're gonna actually have to update face mode and move as well. So that's good. Comp equals comp, target comp name. Okay. And this is probably going to break a lot of stuff, but that's okay. No, geez. This is going to be a little bit of a slog, but that's okay. Might as well do now. Because we'll just be pulling this out. So that's, oh, okay, yeah, this is gonna be target comp. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Donish says he's trying to learn how to use code forces. Nice. Somebody else was in here. I don't know if they're still here. Abdul Harif. He's talking about practicing code forces. I did some leak code back in the day to try to practice for like coding problems, but I've never done code forces. And find target pause. Yep. Okay. Now let's see, where's the other one? Face pid. Oh, so what is this doing up here? Okay. Move. Wait, this can be empty, so actually if we want to check target is none, then target pause. Okay. Trees face mode, target comp, face mode and move, target comp. Okay, so now we just gotta just wire this up. Donish X3 asks a question: should I use laptop to code or PC? What do you think? I use both, so I mean it's just whatever you have. For many years I had a desktop that I used. Then for another span of years I had a laptop that was my best computer that I used. And now I have quite a nice laptop and quite a nice desktop, and I just go back and forth between them depending on what I'm using. So I'm using a laptop to live stream right now because it has a nice built-in webcam and stuff, but work on the same project on my desktop other times. Okay. Yeah, okay, so now basically just in move and face mode we need to use the component if we need it. So here's what we got to do. So here, this is going to be, let's see here, the local position of, let's see here, let's see, global position as seen from, okay, yeah, so pause equals this pause, right? Now, if so if this is not none, then we have to add the oh wait, no, this is a global position. So let's see here. We need to get the global relative, let's see here, given that the relative point, I always forget which one of these I've got to use. Given let me just think about this. So we're just gonna go like this. I think this should be fairly obvious if it's working or not. So this is going to be, and this is probably not the most efficient way to do this, but we're just going to go for it here. I need to, so in this node's coordinate system, so we want this in our local coordinate system. And then the other position and rotation is the position and rotation of the target, right? So target dot is pause. And the point in that coordinate system is going to be comp.modelnp.getPause relative to target.base np. I think. Yeah. Okay, now the same thing for face mode. Face mode. So find target pause. Target comp is an optional component. Yeah, so this is the same thing here. So we just if target comp is none, then pause is target.phys. Yeah, and let's just do this. So here let's kind of try it the other way. So here we're finding the global coordinate system, right? Of and this is all target phys pause, target phys pause. This gets complicated if we actually want to target components, because we've got to take into account the angular velocity. So we're just going to say we're not going to worry about leading mode working for it doesn't work for components yet. And actually move base mode, leading mode none. Yeah. Static or very slowly moving targets. Yeah, so leading mode is none, so that should be fine. So yeah, basically it's going to be the same logic here. So if let me just actually if yeah, here's what we want to copy, so that's in space mode. So yeah, if it's basically the same thing. And it's not self here, but just target comp. So, and we don't need to get it from the blackboard. Here, comp. Let's see, does this make sense? Again, let's just double check this. So we're going relative point. So we're wanting the system in our coordinate system. The coordinate system is the target, and our relative position in that coordinate system is that. All right, I think this works. Now I'm sure we forgot something or another, but let's see. So let's give ourselves a little bit of slack here, at least the first time, and move. Yep, okay. So, and we just got to add target comp here, and let's see here. start. Now, I think our slack is probably really small, so it's going to just drive us into the thing. So, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we didn't get a component out of the blackboard properly. Okay, we'll print the blackboard here. Oh. Our constructor didn't put the component in the blackboard. Donish says, don't you think the game is done? Absolutely not. It is very, very, very far from being done. Oh yeah, I'm just not doing anything with the component. Okay, so target name. Ah, okay, so this is interesting. So here we've pause. This is interesting. This is a let's see here. Interesting. I'm actually only using it this in these two spots. Okay, I've got to convert this guy to a double precision. And then I think this should work, right? Or wait, no. Because these, I have to... Yeah. This is actually something that's... Okay. I think we've almost got it. Yep. It's gonna bounce off a little bit. I think my, yeah. I think my, yeah, our within move is 10. I think if we bump this up, we could do like 50 meters. Actually, maybe not 50. Even probably 30 would be fine. Yeah, okay. This is exciting. This is so exciting, you guys. Okay. So... So we're going to move into position here near the docking ring. Okay, 30 meters is still too small. Maybe 50. Let's actually go a little farther out here. And let's aim a different direction, test that part of it out. So we're gonna spin around. We're gonna head in there, slow down. Okay, arrived at target. We'll just stop. And then if we orient, then we'll orient into position. Now see what I can do too, eventually is I could add something to sort of align, like a behavior tree, and this is what I want to do next, is a behavior tree for aligning, where I use the strafing thrusters of the ship to align. And I could, for some of these, I could have your ship, a component in your ship be, you know, one thing that you're trying to align to, so you can do things relative to those parts. But for now, we can sort of do things manually. Now let's just for kicks and giggles, let's go to a different docking ring. Let's see if we can get there. So go to this other one. Now let's see, where is it? My simple move I don't think is gonna be able to really navigate around the structure of the space station too well. But so let's kind of get over by it in the general vicinity before we do a move. And let's shucks. Yeah, we broke some other stuff, but that's okay. Okay, so there it is. We'll move toward it here. And then we'll stop and we'll orient. Nice. And then we're ready to translate into position there. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else cool I can do with this. Nothing is coming to mind right offhand, but man, this is good, and this gives us a good start on the goal of like auto-generating. It gives us two things, right? Again, kind of revisiting why we're doing this. It gives us a good start on auto-generating some sets of runs for like trying to do some machine learning experimentation with ship maneuvering, and for like scripted scenarios in the game. This should work really well. Like, it should be really easy to test. Yeah, we have a ship here, there's a bunch of empty space. You know, it moves it moves across, aligns itself, moves in, right? So, yeah, this is great. Let me just turn move on again. It should try to get closer. Bonk. Yeah, now I just need an align where we can use thrusters to align different components and we're good to go. And to fix some broken stuff too. Alright, well, this was a really productive stream. I think we got the subcomponent or component targeting system implemented. We tested it out with a couple behaviors. Thanks to everybody who came and hung out, watched. It's a good time. If you're not subscribed, make sure to do that. There's a lot of other streams if you like this. I have a huge backlog of streams. I've been working on this project for a long time. We'll continue to do so. And there's some really interesting stuff in there if you want to check out, especially if you're interested in Blender, Blender Python programming. I do some 3D printing stuff there too, so lots of fun. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, Donish. Thanks for hanging out, Doug. It's good to see everybody, and have a good night.